Welcome back to the Relentless podcast. Today we have a special guest. He is very local to the area, definitely popular around our way. Everyone uses him. He is Ray Van Dexter and Adriel, and they're from Dynamic Tint. Thank you guys for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So I really appreciate it. They just opened up a brand new showroom right down the street in Washington Township. It's right on the pike. You cannot miss it. It's impossible to miss. It is huge. It's definitely huge. Getting into Dynamic Tint, where it started, where it's going. Tell me about the journey. Tell me about how you started and where you're looking to go and how you've grown from the back of your truck to now.
Yeah, so basically I dropped out of high school in 10th grade, and I basically was looking for a career, something to do that I can make money and I enjoyed and I was passionate about. And I came across a place that did car detailing. I started out washing cars for $5 an hour, believe it or not. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and actually out of all the things that I've tried, I tried carpet cleaning. I've done that. Sales. I was actually really good at sales. I sold Craftmatic beds, in-home sales for different services and things like that. Really wasn't my thing, but I was good at it. I'm a people person and I like genuinely helping people. So I never was like pressuring people or anything like that. But it just really wasn't my thing, the whole sales thing. But I came across cars and I'm very passionate about cars, and that's when, I started working on cars, washing them, but really wasn't the best paying job, but I was passionate about it. I woke up every day and it wasn't like a job. So, a little more time went on, and actually I met my wife in 2003, and when I met her, we were driving by a place that tinted her car, and she's like, well, that's the place that tinted my car. And I'm like, oh, well, I can tint windows. Little did I know I couldn't tint windows at the time. So I'm like, you know what, turn around, let's go in there. And so I went in there and I basically asked him for a job. He's like, you could start tomorrow. That was Automagic in Glassboro.
So Todd Braun?
Todd Braun, yeah.
Wow, he was like the local OG.
Yeah, I worked for him for a couple years and kind of learned the industry, learned the business. And, there came a point where, I didn't know I wanted to start my own company, but there came a point where I had my son in 2005. And when I had my son, I just wanted to give him a good life and, better than what I had. I came from a, very poor upbringing, and, I just really wanted to give him a good life. And that's when I'm like, you know what, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to start Dynamic Tint. So, and then we basically took it from there. I started out of the trunk of a car with no money. So, yeah.
That's amazing. That's actually awesome.
Yep.
So in doing business, I mean, a lot of the things that you say, I feel like all the entrepreneurs have a same common denominator. It's, going to work doesn't feel like work. You actually are passionate about it.
Exactly.
You like to help people. All those things play a big part in where you're at today.
Correct.
So in getting there, what do you think some of your biggest challenges that you've gone through, maybe some of the mistakes that you made, but actually you had to make in order to become successful?
So I think a lot of it has to do with people. Like, it's hard to manage people. It's not an easy task. I've learned to... Over the years, I've learned to get better at that. I wasn't an expert at it at the beginning. I just looked at them as employees and I'm just giving jobs, but over the years, I kind of got better at it. And, at this point, I try to create opportunities. I think, and that's really important. And that was a game changer for me, to not only give somebody a job, an hourly wage, but paint a picture of an opportunity that they could go down a path and be successful at. And that if they work at it over time, then, one day maybe they could be in my position, and hopefully, and I'm willing to help them get there, and
That's
that
great.
really helped me get through a lot of things over the course of the years, because, I can't do everything myself.
Correct.
I try to wear all the hats, and I'm sure, with your business, we want to do everything because we think if we do it, it's going to be done right. But at some point, you got to find people that are good at certain things and, really push them to be the best at one thing instead of you doing everything.
That's right.
So
I think a lot of things in business, you got marketing, you got sales, you got production, right?
Right.
And then you got the touch points with the customer even after that.
Right.
When you start to look for people, what do you look for in those positions? Like, what do you look for in someone that's going to do like the front counter? versus someone that's going to do production? Is there something that you see in people because you've been doing so long that hey, I think you'd be great at getting production done, versus hey, you should be the customer-facing salesperson that sits in the front?
Yeah, I mean, I think some people are good with people and some people are good at actually getting the work done. So we all have different talents, and I think that's something as an owner that I've learned to get better at, to know like, hey, John is great at tinting windows, but he's not good at dealing with customers.
Sure.
But I've actually had employees that were good at tinting windows, and when I opened the second store, I gave them an opportunity, and the second store is very successful now. Steve Reeder, he actually runs that store for us, and he does extremely well now with customers. He's good at sales. He's dealing with customers on a daily basis, and it took some time, but we got him there, and it just takes time and the willingness to learn,
Yep.
and groom the employees to do a good job at what they're doing.
Absolutely. So Adriel's here. You brought Adriel today.
Sir?
He's definitely he's a customer-facing, good-looking guy, obviously, right? So what did you see in him, and where do you see him fall into your business, and why is that?
So we brought Adriel in because he had some talents with the digital world, social media, Facebook, Instagram. He's great behind a camera. So, those things really were intriguing to me, and he brought a value to the business with all those sorts of things that we were doing a little bit of it, but we weren't doing it on a scale that we are now.
Right.
Putting up videos and stories and posts that relate to our customers, and that's where he came in, and he does a really great job of it. But not only that, he also is great at dealing with people, helping me manage a shop on a daily basis.
That's great. So you have him almost doing multiple things within your business, within range.
He wears a couple hats.
I like it.
And it's just that, it's a broad range of responsibilities, but I've been in this industry kind of flip-flopping back and forth with different positions. I've been a manager, I've been an installer, I've been in sales. For me, what really brought me in the industry was just the fact that it's something I really like to do.
Yep.
That was the biggest thing between, even finding a new employee in this industry. You really want somebody, especially who's going to be at the front face of a counter or really doing anything, who really enjoys what they're doing. I always found an interest in cars, always found an interest in customization. I was also interested in like the aftermarket world. That's really what brought me into it. Wasn't so much, just the cars themselves, and
Sure.
what you could do to them. And that always just motivated me to stay within the industry. So like, I always liked going to work. I always liked learning more stuff, doing more. I was never afraid to get my hands wet in a different task. So, when he brought me on, he was like, hey, I kind of really want to have you do a broader range of things. Are you comfortable with that? Can you move, through positions? And it didn't bother me in the slightest, because I just like, as a whole,
That's great.
I like talking to people.
Yep.
I like the product. I know the products, off the back of my hand. I've had installation experience, so I know how to talk about how the product works, how it installs, really from start to finish, what it's going to be like. And then I also know how to talk to my employees, because I used to be an installer.
Right.
That's another thing, is you want to be able to touch base to those employees and the people that work for you in a way that you understand what their daily life's going to be. Because it's a lot different from management to, install.
Absolutely.
It's always going to be that break there. But
Sure.
having that bridge to say, hey, I understand.
Oh, yeah.
I used to be there.
You've been there.
And we can work through it and find the most efficient way to just be a team.
That's great. Yeah, so I've seen a bunch of your videos anyway. I think you do a phenomenal job. I think you really like being there.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So I guess my question to you, before we get into some of the benefits of tinting, how is it working with Ray? Working with Ray every day. How is he in person? I mean, I know he's a family man. I know he does a lot for the community. He does the Halloween.
Yeah.
Basically he had a trunk or treat over there. It was
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I know he's always involved. So how is it working with him every day? You can say something bad about him too.
So, I'll be honest, like you said, I've had experience, at other shops. I've been employees, I've been installer, I've been in management of some other, industry specific places.
Sure.
And I was actually hesitant to go back into the automotive industry when I started with him. Believe it or not, I went to school for engineering, and I was actually at Lockheed Martin before I had really dipped back into the automotive industry full time. And when I had left my last position, just because unfortunately sometimes in this industry it can be really toxic.
Yep.
The automotive industry is fast paced. It's very cutthroat at times.
Sure.
So I actually wasn't going to get back into it at all. I was going to just go back to engineering or, back into field work or something like that. And, you know, through some mutual contacts of mine, through a good friend that we had that I knew from my family, he said, hey, you know, why don't you reach out and see what's going on with Dynamic Tint? You know, Ray, I've known Ray for years, you know, hit him up. I think he'd be a great fit. So I thought about it. I was like, you know what, let me shoot him a message. Let me see how it goes. And, you know, I came in, I talked to him. And I think he's same thing, you know, was kind of hesitant at first because he didn't know me.
Sure.
He had no idea who I was.
Yeah.
He only had basis to go off of what, you know, our mutual friend said. And he was like, no, hire him, this and that. So, you know, we came to agreement. And when I started there, you know, I realized that I wanted to stay in automotive again. Like, I liked what I was doing. The fact that he was more involved too, you know, he wasn't a distant owner.
That's right.
He likes to get very involved in the process that go on. You know, he wants to be creative and do more things and be better and go further.
More marketing, just anything to drive the business forward.
Just in general too, you know, you've always been that person that, you know, you want your employees and staff to go right up along with you. You know, when I first started, you didn't know where I was going to fit. And I didn't know where I was going to fit either.
Yeah.
But after, you know, taking on that role and trying to show that I can handle responsibility stuff, I said, hey, you know, I think this is going to work out. I want to put you here. Are you comfortable with that?
Right.
Sure. Hey, I want to put you here. Can you do this?
Yeah.
Sure. And it's just like, you're comfortable with moving people along who are willing to work with it, you know,
Correct.
to work hard and
prove themselves.
prove themselves. And I'm also not that, you know, I'm not afraid to prove myself either.
Sure.
So, you know, fast forward, you know, a couple years later, you know, I'm fully into it. I come to work every day. I like what I do. Like I said, I like being in the industry, and then having somebody who I can go to as an owner and say, hey, I have an idea, or hey, let's do this, or, you know, hey, what's going on? And he comes to me, you know, hey, I have this idea, or, you know, how do you think we can improve here? I think we can improve there. You know, it's big to have a line of communication where you're looking at it as a business as if your employees are almost like your partners.
That's right.
You know, I understand, like, I'm not a partner, I'm an employee, but at the end of the day, like, we can collaborate and figure out a way to grow the business together because of
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely big.
That's awesome. I love hearing all that.
So,
That's great.
You know, it's good.
That's great. So let's just get right into, you know, what we do. Other than tinting, is there anything else that you do other than tinting?
So we do quite a bit of paint protection film. So we protect the front of cars with a clear film against rock chips, road debris, things like that. And we do a good amount of remote starts and ceramic coating as well. Yeah.
Cool. And then I guess we'll get right into it. I mean, the main business is tinting.
Correct. Yeah, for the most part.
I mean,
we do a lot of volume.
Everyone's known. I mean, name is business, Dynamic Tint. Everyone I talk to, yeah, where'd you get it? Dynamic Tint, right?
On an average busy day, we'll do anywhere from 40 to 60 cars a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I got to say, for me personally, I don't know if I get special treatment. I hope I don't, but maybe I do. I literally drop the car off in the morning. A couple hours later, I'm like picking it up. I'm like, this is crazy. And it's like perfect every single time.
Right.
So I guess for that, you know, what's the major benefits of, you know, doing your window tint for obviously for your car and or for your home, business, residential, or commercial?
You want to take this one?
Yeah, so I'll touch on that. So, I mean, the biggest thing with tint, especially over the last couple of years, you know, the technology's changed. You know, back in the day, it was kind of just, everybody just did it for privacy, right? Just wanted to make it dark. It turned purple. It was blue.
Looks
brown. It looks cool, you know. It was a little bit nuanced, but the technology we have now, it's a protective aspect. That's going to be your biggest thing. Ceramic films hit the market, and, you know, especially with us, it's huge because not only does it give you the privacy and the style, right, like the cool factor, but it also protects the car. So with the ceramic films, it reduces the temperatures in the vehicles, it protects interiors, especially on like higher end vehicles,
right?
Leather, suede, you know, all that stuff. These premium interiors they have, it'll keep it from getting destroyed by the sun. And the other benefit is it's just, you're not hot. You're not dying in the summertime that you go in your car. It's not baking. And even for our normal day-to-day customers, it's huge because if you have a family, if you have a lot of kids, you got a lot of baby seats back there, they're not getting blasted by the sun either. And you don't have to run your air as hard.
That is great.
Which is nice. So with electric vehicles hitting the market, like, you know, Teslas and Rivians in the last couple of years, they eat up the battery a ton when you're blasting the air all the time. And they have massive amounts of glass. I mean, you've seen Model 3, Model S, you know, Rivians are glass everywhere. The whole roof's glass, everything's glass. So they get hot. But with the ceramic film, it helps cut that down a lot. And then as far as, you know, PPF and ceramic coating is concerned, you know, that just helps play in the factor of just keeping the car looking new. You know, a lot of these newer vehicles, they're super expensive to replace parts or paint them. I mean, for a bumper nowadays, for like a higher end vehicle, you're talking $2,000-$3,000.
Sure.
You know, to repaint it, you're talking another $2,000. Now you're $5,000 or $6,000 in the hole. But PPF on there, you don't got to worry about it.
Exactly.
And the same is true for like the home and office you touched on.
Sure.
It's the same thing for cars. You know, it protects from heat, keeps your interiors from getting bagged up.
UV rays.
Table like this from getting destroyed by the UV. If you have sensitive furnitures in there, if you have pets and kids, it can help reduce your energy bill. You actually do get an energy efficiency stamp if you get some of the higher end, like the ceramic foams, protective foams. You can get a tax credit because it actually makes your home energy efficient.
That's great.
Lowers energy costs and technically good for the environment.
Sure. So. Absolutely. That's awesome. So what are some common misconceptions you get with people wanting to get their windows tinted?
So the most common one that we get, I think, is the most funny, but I guess just for people not knowing, is everybody always thinks window tint goes on the outside of the vehicle. Window tint goes on the inside of the windows, not the outside. Everybody always thinks that the tint goes on the outside. It's not true. It always goes on the inside. And the second touch base on that is everybody thinks weather affects it because they think it goes on the outside. So
right.
As soon as it's raining or it's snowing or it's bad weather, they think my tint's going to fly off or it's not going to stick right or something's going to go wrong. That's not the case.
Sure.
Actually, believe it or not, in those more inclement weathers that we get, it's actually technically better to get your windows tinted because you have less pollution in the air. Like when it's raining or snowing, the rain is going to suck all the dust and everything out of the air. So you just have less stuff floating in the air when you're trying to do a tint job. I mean, we always do it indoors anyway. We have HVAC controlled building, but people always think it's worse. Technically, it's better.
Right. That's awesome. That's good to know. So, as far as the technological advancements that they had from before, I mean, window tint was nice before, but I feel like now, what they have now as far as the products, they're way better.
It's come a far, far way. I mean, we both can attest.
When I started, it was 1 mil thick, and it just made a good look on your car. The back windows were done in strips. Now they're done in one piece. Now we do computerized computer cutting, and, it's definitely evolved, and it continues to evolve.
Tell me about the computerized cutting. How does that work?
So we use a program called Expel DAP. It's exclusive for us Expel dealers. We are one of the only Expel dealers in South Jersey. So it's available at our facility, and basically we just put in your vehicle information, and we can cut any window in your car on the fly. So within 5, 6, 8 minutes, we can have a full car cut, and we hand it over to the technician, and they install it.
He's installing it.
So
I guess that goes to my next question. Training, your installers. How does something like that work? Is there like a training class, or you just say, "Hey, here's the tint, go at it, have at it"?
So
how does that work?
Approached that a couple different ways. The first way was to find experienced installers. I mean, that's a dream for any business owner, right?
Yep.
We want to get that guy that can just come in and just start producing. But unfortunately, in the world we live in, it's not always possible. So what we found that works best is we'll find somebody young that, has a good attitude. We can't teach attitude or work ethic, but we could teach a skill, So we take that person, they're sweeping floors, they're picking up tint scraps, and basically they start at the bottom and they work up from there. And as we see their talents progress, we keep giving them more responsibilities. As far as the tinting goes, we'll start them on little quarter windows, and then we'll do side windows, and then we'll graduate to back windows and windshields. And it goes in that order. We usually don't push people to move any faster than they're capable of. I've had people that took 3 years to learn, and I've had people that took 3 months to learn. So it just depends on the person, but that's pretty much how we approach that.
That's great. And you do have a great business. So next question is going to be more of a business type side question. As far as marketing, what kind of things that you do to market your business that you like doing, and what is your kind of plan going into 2025?
So it's funny you bring that up. So I was talking to one of my marketing people that we deal with for our paid advertisement, and I was telling them back when I started, when Facebook first released back in I think it was 07, 09, in that range, we would put $25 on an ad, and my phone would just not stop ringing. I was the only one on Facebook at the time offering window tint.
That's awesome.
Now, you go on there and there's 30 of us. So it's still a niche, but there's more people in the industry and in the business. So as it evolves, new things come up, like Instagram. I wasn't on Instagram for a while. I'm sold on Facebook. This works great. I don't need anything else. So then Instagram came, and then Twitter, and then it just keeps going and going. And now, if you're not on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you got to be on all of them. Otherwise, your business isn't relevant.
Absolutely.
So, as and now, AI is new to me. So, me and you had this conversation yesterday through text, and, AI is evolving, and I want to be on the forefront of AI.
That's right.
So
That's right.
That's kind of where it's going.
Yeah, so let's get into AI a little bit, only because we were talking about it. I think it's awesome. It's funny how, like, the things that you say is exactly kind of where I'm at. Maybe a little slower to move because, Instagram, I just started my Instagram page in August for my personal name.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, I'm not, Facebook's enough. It's enough work. It's enough work.
Exactly.
And I'm good enough. But then, I did Instagram. I'm like, oh my God, this engagement rate is unbelievable for the amount of people I have. And I think it's way, way more than what it was with Facebook. As I started doing it, it's a little different because some of the things that you can do on Facebook, you can't do on Instagram and vice versa. So I feel like learning that's cool. But then AI, when you start using AI, there's so many different things that you can use. Chat GPT is a game changer.
Yeah.
At first, I'm like, this is dumb. This is never going to work. Then literally a month later, I'm hooked on it. I'm doing it every single day. I can put my schedule on there. It tells me. I could put, hey, help me do this. It does it. It gives you an awesome outline to get things started. And then you take it from there and you make it your own, right?
Right.
And it saves so much time because, it's giving you the outline of what you think you should do. And you don't have to accept it. You just say, hey, give me something different.
Tweak it, right?
Make it shorter. Then you start learning the different prompts. And then it starts to learn you. So I feel like once it starts to learn you, it knows everything about you and it knows how you're going to talk.
Correct.
So you can say, hey, in the voice of Ray and Van Dexter, tell me how I'm going to learn tinting. It's going to tell me.
Wow.
It's going to tell me.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. And then it says, I don't know if you ever tried this one. Hey, I want you to roast me, Sam DeMayo, about showcase remodels and what I do. And it'll literally roast me.
Oh, wow.
Did you ever try something like that?
No, I did not.
It is wild. You definitely have to try to roast yourself on it. It's actually funny. Now, the other thing is AI, and we'll talk about this a little bit. Some of the programs that have automations, I think you guys are just tapping into.
Yeah, we're just tapping into some of that as well. Yeah,
get into it. I mean, some of the automations you can do on it's just insane. I've actually been tweaking around with ChatGPT for a while, believe it or not, like a lot longer before it really became viral. Back when they announced it, when it was still like just a beta pilot program, I was playing around with it.
That's awesome.
But what a lot of people realize too is that program also scrubs data from pretty much every inch of the internet. So even though you might not think it might know anything about your business, if you punch in your information the right way with like a location, it can start feeding you back information that it finds off your website, finds off of old social media posts from like 2012. And or it can grab information. So it's kind of insane how much you can actually automate because it can parse information that you might not even remember yourself.
And it's in seconds. Yeah. It's literally in seconds. It's punching it out. So to get it off AI, then we're going to go back to kind of the most important part, your customer. So dealing with your customers, obviously, when you start till now, you've always been a people person. But what do you do for your customers to make sure their level and their experience is far better than anybody else?
I think it starts with the phone call or the initial point of contact with the customer. Getting back to them fast is really important. I think a lot of businesses lack that, like when we get an email in, 5 minutes or less, that's how quickly we want to respond. A phone call, we want to get to it right away, immediately, as soon as that phone rings. And I think that's really important. And we're trying to get better at it day by day. And as we grow and get bigger, it's definitely been challenging to stay on top of it. And then that's when we got to look into adding more team members or using things like AI and things like that to kind of subsidize those missing pieces that, we come across.
Yep. So the other thing for AI, for obviously the emails coming in, you could have the AI respond for your emails and set up appointments. Yeah. So that's like our next level. So I feel like getting ahead of the curve, I'll go back to AI. If we get ahead of the curve now, when we go into that next phase, which is coming soon, we're going to be far ahead of the game.
Yes.
Far ahead of the game. So now, company culture. What do you have set up for company culture, your values, your mission statement? What is it that, you kind of set up for your company so that's going to grow and evolve?
So we try to relay over to our team members that company culture is important, of course, and we want to make sure that we're always doing the right thing. When the customer's not looking, we want to do the right thing. We want to make sure we give them the best work, and we want to be honest, and upfront with our customers. And that's why we are where we are, because we've always taken care of our customer.
That's right.
Yep.
That's great. So now, as far as the community, I know you live locally, your business is local, you're involved with your business very heavily still.
Absolutely.
What do you do locally to give back to our community?
So we've done a lot over the years. Recently, we just did a trunk or treat. We had a lot of things there that were great for the community, kids and adults, anyone basically. We had a lot of people come out, and it was a great event. But we also do a lot of personalized things, like, I've done donations for people with cancer and like smaller local stuff. I feel like it hits home more for me, rather than like the bigger organizations. I rather go directly to the source. That's kind of been my thing with charities and helping out in the community.
That's great.
Yeah, we try our best, like, with that recent trunk or treat, that was more just like a give back just to customers, their kids. We sponsor a lot of local sports teams as well, like softball teams, basketball teams, local charity organizations. We try to do donations and give backs, or, gift baskets and stuff like that. And then all the events we do, like even when we were at the Philly Auto Show, we did a customer appreciation event at the show, just because there were lots of people there that had been to us. I think for us, like, most of our kind of community is always going to be focused on that smaller scale, because, it's giving back and doing events for the customers that got us to this point. Most of our customers are very local or have been coming to us for a long, long time. There's a lot of people there have been coming to us for, 10 plus years who, know Ray or know one of our sales guys for a long, long time. And they just talk like their family or friends.
Absolutely.
So most of the events and stuff we do, we try to do back on that scale, because we want to give back more to the people that, kind of got us in this position in the first place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, again, I'll go back to everybody knows about Dynamic Tint. Like, literally, someone posts something on Facebook, hey, I need my windows tinted. I'll tell you, there'll be 100 Dynamic Tint on there.
You're not lying.
And honestly, it's not everyone knows Ray.
Right.
Like the guy earlier.
Yeah.
I said, hey, where'd you get your windows? I just wanted to throw it out there. Where'd you get your windows tinted? He goes, this place Dynamic Tint. That's who's coming. He goes, really? I said, yeah, guy's name's Ray. Super cool. You got to meet him.
Yeah.
He goes, I never even knew. I never knew the owner.
Yeah,
I never met him. So, and that's a good thing, because hey, you built this business and family and culture.
Yeah.
That it's proven itself that everyone likes it, and everyone likes the experience that they're getting from it. That's why people keep coming.
Correct.
So now I guess next thing I have is as far as like young people trying to get into business, especially in this market, like Dynamic Tint windows and stuff like that. What kind of advice could you give for them on your end, and also Adrian, I'm throwing that to you too.
I mean, you have to be passionate about it. If you're not passionate about working on cars, it's not going to be fun. You're not going to last very long. Like me, I'm passionate about it. I started at a very young age, 18, 19 years old. And it just stuck with me because I've always been great at it, and I love it. I wake up every day in the morning. I don't think, oh man, I have to go to work today. Like, no, I'm going to work because I enjoy it.
That's right.
And I think that's the most important thing, and just evolving as time goes on.
Yep.
Some people are stuck in their ways, and you have to be okay with change as time goes on.
Absolutely. Adrian, what about you? What kind of advice you give to young?
Well, with me being younger in the industry, I guess the way I can relate to it would be, for me, like I said, I kind of was going to leave the automotive industry, but I came back mainly because, again, what he touched on, you really have to want to do all the stuff we do to make it in the industry. Like, you really want to have to be passionate about automotive. But on top of that, I think you just have to be comfortable trying and doing and learning as much as you can. That was honestly the part that always interested me the most, was like, I was never afraid to try anything.
So you're up for a challenge. You're up for a challenge,
right.
And you can be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, like I've been put in plenty of positions before. I was like, I genuinely don't know how I'm going to do this, or like get this job done, or how am I going to, there was so many times where like I'm stressed out, but I never let it get to the point where it stressed me out where I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yep.
It was like, you just got to figure out a way, to keep pushing. And I think, especially with the way the industry is turning now, like, you have to be on the forefront of new products, new tech. You have to be interested in learning about those things, because if you're excited about like, what's coming out this year, especially with the SEMA show.
The standards from when I started to now, like, we used to get away with 10-piece and back windows. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, they were in 5 to 10 pieces.
Oh my God.
So
just keeping up on that stuff and like genuinely wanting to learn about the newer tech and the newer products. Like, if you're interested in all the new stuff, like, if you're like, if you're excited to go to SEMA, if you're excited to go to all these different shows and talk to these people and all these new companies, you're fine.
Oh yeah.
If you have an interest in it, you'll be good.
Sure, that's awesome. You kind of answered the other day-to-day work thing with that, but I think as far as personal habits for you inside and outside work, what are some like a daily routine you have? Is there a daily routine you have just kind of set up for yourself?
I'm kind of a wing it kind of guy. You know what I mean? I wake up every day and I touch on everything, make sure my employees are doing what they need to do, and make sure everybody's headed in the right direction, and just kind of oversee everything. That's kind of where I'm at currently.
Yep.
You know, I got out of the daily operations part of it. Like,
Beautiful.
you know, we have people like Adriel and Josh that handle the daily operations, and I just oversee everything and make sure everybody's happy and doing a good job.
That's great. So you're working on the culture. You're working on building on the business.
Correct.
In the
Yes.
business.
Growing the business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Adrian, what about you?
I mean, to be honest, I thrive on a chaotic environment.
Yep.
You could throw me anything, and it's really not going to.
Oh yeah, organized chaos, right?
Yeah,
That's what I said when they work here. Like, oh, it's organized chaos.
Pretty
The
much.
industry's so fast paced, and our schedule can change day to day. You know, some days, like in the summertime, it can get very, very, very busy. You have to be able to, you know, make adjustments on the fly, figure out priorities, and get jobs and technicians situated. You know, there are days, I'm sure you've dealt with it, but people call out all of a sudden.
Oh yeah.
Something goes wrong, or, you know, you get one little hiccup. But you know, for me, it's just I wake up every day is a new day. I don't let anything before bother me, and I look at the schedule and just figure it out from there. If something changes, something changes. It changes and bother me. So people get too hung up on the idea that like every single day needs to be like yesterday or like last Monday.
Right.
It's a different day. Treat it as a different day. Tomorrow's gonna be different than today. So
Love it. Well, that's it. So another thing I guess we'll go over. Is there like certain times or even certain years that you see like, hey, people aren't buying new cars or new cars even aren't available that affects your business?
Yes. So like right now, if you look down at the auto mall, there's a lot more used cars on the lot than there are new cars. So I think we go through different environments, and we just have to find different niches in marketing to cater to that current marketing environment, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah. So you kind of spread those wings out, trying to think,
Right.
find different
Yeah,
ways,
you got to
different
think
avenues.
outside of the box. Yeah.
To bring it in.
recent like price increases with newer vehicles, you know, a lot of people just aren't buying new. You know, there's still some, but I definitely feel like the new market has dipped versus what it was. So, you know, we just kind of had to adapt to it. But it's the same thing with weather. Like I said, we adapt to weather changes because tint's not as popular in the winter as it is in the summer because people aren't thinking about heat and how hot it is.
Sure.
Same thing with remote starts. Remote starts happen in the cold because they don't want to get into a cold car. You don't get that many remote starts in the summer when it's hot because you just
Right.
goes out, turn the AC on. So it's really all the same. Like you just have to adapt to the different ebbs and flows.
Different markets. Yeah.
It's all the same. You just have to realize that it's happening and make the change there rather than like ignoring it.
Yep, absolutely. So is there anything else that I might have missed that you kind of want to touch on as far as your company, your vision, your mission, and what you're looking to do going into the future?
So we want to open more locations. That's definitely on the forefront. We want to give our employees opportunities, you know, and I think that, you know, employees, if they don't have anywhere to go or they don't see a future, they're not going to stick around. So I think it's very important to create that roadmap for your employees to move forward and grow. And I think with us expanding into more locations, more like satellite stores, I would say, you know, and put these employees that actually want to grow and move forward in these positions to run these locations.
That's right.
So that's kind of where we're headed. We just did the big 17,000 square foot building in Turnersville. That was a big move for us. So we're going to step back for a little bit and try to dial everything in with what we have, and then we're going to move forward. Hopefully in 2025, you'll see another one pop up. So that's kind of where we're headed.
That's awesome. What about you, Adriel?
So, I mean, basically the same thing with him. You know, we're just trying our best to expand within our means. You know, we want to have like an avenue for everybody to have a career.
Yep.
You know, even though we're a small business, you know, we might be bigger now and have a bigger building. At the end of the day, you know, we're still a small team.
Family-owned, small business, yeah.
It's a small group of people that, you know, really care and want to do what we're doing. So, you know, I think we share that goal in mind is just, you know, what's our next step to keep the same team we have and just keep growing. You know, we add more people as needed, but at the end of the day, like we all want to just have the same group and just keep expanding with that same group of people. For the people who have earned it, you know, that really want to be here and that have been, you know, with him and doing this for such a long time, I think it's important, like, to give that path to, hey, you know, it's not just a job. Like, even though it's a small business, even though, you know, it might seem like, hey, you know, we're an automotive shop, there's a career here for you. You know, if you're willing to keep going down that road.
That's great. That's great. I'm super, super happy for you. You're definitely you're definitely comfortable being uncomfortable because that's a huge spot. You're doing it. You're jumping right in there, and you're making it happen every day.
Correct.
So you know, you deserve everything that you get. You definitely work hard for it. Everybody.
Thank you.
You know, I like how you're building your team up. I really That's inspiring to me.
Appreciate it.
I love that. So, and I appreciate having you guys on the show.
Thank you, Sam.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks.